Saved from God's wrath through Jesus. Text, Romans 5 verse 9. Introduction. The book of Romans is a rich and complex epistle that explores the gospel of Jesus Christ in depth. In chapter 5, the Apostle Paul discusses the benefits of justification by faith and how it brings us peace with God and access to His grace. In Romans 5 verse 9, we read, "Since we have now been justified by His blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through Him?" This verse highlights the significance of the blood of Christ in our salvation. It tells us that we have been justified by His blood, and that we will be saved from God's wrath through Him. The wrath of God. Before we can fully appreciate the significance of this verse, we need to understand the concept of God's wrath. The Bible tells us that God is a holy and righteous God, who hates sin and wickedness. In Romans 1 verse 18, we read, "The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people, who suppress the truth by their wickedness." This verse tells us that God's wrath is being revealed against all those who suppress the truth by their wickedness. This includes all those who reject God and His law, and who live in rebellion against Him. The justification by faith. But the good news of the gospel is that we can be justified by faith in Jesus Christ. In Romans 5 verse 1, we read, "Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ." This verse tells us that we have been justified through faith in Jesus Christ, and that we have peace with God through Him. The significance of the blood of Christ. So how does the blood of Christ fit into this picture? In Romans 5 verse 9, we read, "Since we have now been justified by His blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through Him?" This verse tells us that we have been justified by the blood of Christ, and that we will be saved from God's wrath through Him. The blood of Christ is the means by which we are justified and saved. The implications of this verse. So what are the implications of this verse for our lives? First and foremost, it means that we have been saved from God's wrath through Jesus Christ. We no longer have to fear God's judgment and condemnation. Secondly, it means that we have been justified by faith in Jesus Christ. We have been declared righteous and acceptable to God, not because of our own merits, but because of the blood of Christ. Finally, it means that we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. We can now approach God with confidence and boldness, knowing that we have been justified and saved through Jesus Christ. Conclusion. In conclusion, Romans 5 verse 9 tells us that we have been justified by the blood of Christ, and that we will be saved from God's wrath through Him. This verse highlights the significance of the blood of Christ